Welcome to another Charter Communications Local Edition. I'm Al Travis, and we have in with us Senator Carla Nelson. Congratulations, by the way.
Good morning.
Good morning. News came out, Minnesota, second-ranked state in the nation to live in. I presume you take credit for that.
Well, of course.
That's what I was thinking.
No.
See, I always thought it would be top 50, but number 2 is huge.
It's always good to be at the top of the good list. And really, I think the credit goes to Minnesotans and the great businesses and families that we have living here.
See, that's such a good
In
political answer.
spite
You should have
of
just
government.
taken the credit and said, yes, it was all me. Exciting times as a state senator if you're Republican in Minnesota.
Oh, absolutely. To be in the majority is a great opportunity and a great responsibility, one I don't take lightly.
Work me from the back, though. So election night, you guys, your team's been working hard, and knocking on doors, and talking to the people, and then you go to your election night, and now you've won. I don't know that it was you were scared to death that you wouldn't, but you had been watching the state results.
Oh, I was watching the state results, the national results, but there is one thing about being on the ballot yourself. You truly are so focused on your own race and on every precinct that comes in that you really don't get to absorb what's happening statewide and nationally like the rest of the electorate.
So you realize you won.
Yes.
Thank goodness, wipe the brow. Then you got to, Trump National, why you see some stuff, and that's interesting. But the fact that the Senate in Minnesota goes Republican had to almost be the knee knocker of the night. I mean, you just have to go, wait a minute, we might get something done.
It was just a wonderful thing. I think it was about 2:30 in the morning. But of course, there were a couple recounts that just finished, I think, yesterday or the day before.
And you kept the lead.
We kept the lead. We're glad about that. But one thing to think about, it's a very slim majority. It's a one-vote majority. 34 votes. That tells me that attendance will be very good at every committee.
No one gets sick,
session.
no vacations this session. But on that same line, even though you're all Republicans, doesn't mean everyone toes the line on everything.
Well, true.
So leadership's going to have an interesting time just hurting the cats.
Well, yes, I would hate to be called a cat, but yes.
Well, you get my echoes in that. Yes, you understand.
No, it is difficult, and but I also think that leads to better government. When you can't go off on extremes on either end, you have to be very centrist because you can't just get most of the Republican votes. You have to get all of them, or be broad enough that you also garner some Democrat votes. So I think we should see a more balanced approach.
Well, let me ask you this. You were out knocking on doors. You ran this race because you wanted to win this race, and you did. What were the people saying to you about the topic that was the topic du jour? What was on people's minds?
Well, the biggest issue was the health insurance and the fact that the premiums have skyrocketed dramatically, especially in the small group and the individual market. And that's on top of double-digit increases in the years prior. So that is a great concern. And then the fact that we have so few carriers that will that will be Minnesota health insurers.
All right, so if that's the number one thing that you heard about, what, and this is not a trap question, what can possibly be done on a statewide level to fix that, in that MNsure or Obamacare is a federal program? Right. So, I mean, as much as they're complaining to you about it, is there anything you can do to fix the problem?
Well, not totally, because a lot will have to come from the feds. But let me just say, there are things that Minnesota can do that would make, especially that small group and individual market, more cost efficient in Minnesota. Things like allowing people to buy insurance across state lines. We should not be limited to just the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 providers that want to provide insurance in Minnesota. We should allow things called MIWAs, Multiple Employer Workers Association, which we've done before, which is allow small groups like small businesses, farmers to pool together to have a broader risk pool. We should reassess our risk pool in this state. Where we're sitting right now is one of the smallest risk pools in the state. And so it is totally unfair as far as if you're living in this part of the state. So we need to have broader risk pools.
Now, so in the Senate and the House, you all get elected, and if this is the number one across the state, and I presume it was, I mean, if that's it, is that the thing you guys are going after? And it's inside baseball, and we'll give this up. Some Democrats might hear this. Is that the thing you're going after then? Is this what the Republicans are going to go after first thing on January 3rd? Is this?
I think that's the immediate thing that might happen should we have a special session on Wednesday, next Wednesday. Certainly it needs to be addressed quickly, but we also need to see what the feds are going to do because there is that great interplay, as you said. More broadly, I see Senate Republicans doing things like making sure we have a more friendly job climate, that we have businesses that want to stay here, grow here, expand here, that we have some tax relief, not just for businesses, but for Main Street Minnesotans as well. We're one of the higher tax states. That's a list we don't like to be on.
Well, let's go back just a little bit, though. At the end of last session, we did not get the bonding bill done. It got there, it didn't get signed, it didn't happen. So that's, if you will, on the table of things to get done, I presume.
Oh, sure. There's those three things. There is the tax bill, the bonding bill, and the transportation bill. Those three things need to get done pronto.
And then pronto. I love it. They need to get done pronto. And, oh, by the way, this happens to be a session when we have to do budget.
So, bingo. It's going to be a big year.
Big. This is as big as it's been since I've been doing programs like this because nothing got done. The big stuff didn't get done last time. You put it onto a budget that should be about $1.4 billion surplus,
projected.
Which, hate to say this, but not you personally, but people in your line of work, when there's extra money, it gets extra contentious. I honestly believe that when there's not enough money, it's an easier session than when there's more money than we need.
That's a common view at the Capitol, and I've been there both times. I've been there when we've had $6 billion budget holes. I've been here when we've had surpluses. I will tell you, I think the surpluses are better than the holes. But either way, it's a difficult mix of priorities.
All right. So, do you believe that we can get those? The tax, the transportation, the bonding, and the budget done in one session? Is this a session that ends on time and all of this gets done?
I believe it definitely can, and it should. There's one thing, of course, we need a governor's signature for things to get enacted into law, so we cannot forget that Governor Dayton might have a different point of view on a number of things. So there will require, I think, great communication. One thing I would say, Travis, that would help specifically, I should say Al Travis.
That's fine. It's fine.
Is that we need to end last-minute lawmaking. That was really the undoing of last session. And so I'll be offering a suite of good government proposals to actually work towards better governance, more accountability, and last-minute lawmaking.
Loving this idea because I said this before. Why a bunch of full-grown adults wait till 5 minutes to midnight to make their votes on something? So that if one person spoils the stew, we don't get it done. Seems a little crazy to me.
Well, it is crazy, but it can be done now. That's the way the rules are set up. So we need to change that.
And as long as you're in charge of both houses, you should be able to change those rules, correct?
I would hope so. I would hope that Republicans are just as interested in good governance when we're in the majority as when we were in the minority.
And what committees will you be on as we end in this?
Well, probably I'll be on Education, Finance. I hope to be on the Tax Committee where I've served valiantly for the last few years. Certainly need to be on a Health Committee in this neck of the woods as well. And then I'll probably be on another one, maybe higher education. It's hard to say. We're still waiting to find out.
It's going to be quite an exciting session.
Yeah. Oh, and bonding. I'm always on the bonding committee. So that's very important for this district. So probably taxes, bonding, health, and perhaps something else.
Senator, it's always a pleasure having you on the program. Maybe we can get you to stick around and do one more, and we'll talk some specifics on what we're going to see come up in the next session.
Look forward to it, Al.
Fantastic. Thank you, Senator, very much for being on the program. This has been another Charter Communications Local Edition with Al Travis.